Good afternoon, kids. This is Mrs. Vega. If you're watching this video, you are part of my tigers group, and you can enjoy that funny little picture of a tiger I drew for you. The purpose of this video is I want you to watch this and then do the work in your packet that you have for this week. So I'm hoping that I'll make a video for every week, and this will help you understand the learning activities we are working on. And I would love it if you could send me a picture or email me a picture of your reading, your writing, or your math. One of those, something for each of those subjects would be ideal. But whatever you can do would be great. So let's get started. The learning targets today in reading, and I want you to read it with me after I say it. I can identify realistic fiction. You say it. I can identify realistic fiction. I can speak clearly when I read aloud. You say it. I can speak clearly when I read aloud. We'll be talking about what all this means a little later in the video. Writing. You guys have been working on a Genius Hour passion project, and I'm really excited to find out what you've been researching and what you're interested in. And today we are going to think about how I can add visuals to make my passion essay more interesting. You say it. I can add visuals to make my passion essay more interesting. And in math, we're going to be thinking about volume, which is how much liquid can be in a container, and mass, which is how much something weighs. There you go. I've given it away a little bit, but here's the target. I can estimate volume of liquids and weight of mass. You say it. I can estimate volume of liquids and weight of mass. I'm going to share my screen with you now, and you are going to see some pages in your packet. So let me make this a little bigger. And what you'll find is that there are many learning targets that are listed on these first couple of pages. I've only picked a couple of them. I also want to talk about this one. I can identify the character's point of view. I didn't write it up there because it's getting a little wordy up there on the whiteboard. And I want us to just focus on the most important things. We're going to skip the passion project part, and we're going to scroll down to this page, which is page 8 in your packet. And this is a short example of a realistic fiction passage. If you think about the words realistic, what do you think that means? And what do you think fiction means? Pause the video and talk to the person that is working with you and tell them what you think that might mean. If you've had a chance to talk, now I'll tell you what it means, and you can see if you were right. Realistic means that it could have happened. So there's not going to be something like purple dragons flying around in the sky, or something really imaginative in a realistic fiction piece. It's going to be about something that actually could have happened. It just didn't happen. And often authors will pick a subject that they know a lot about, or maybe a story that's really happened to them, and they'll just change some details about it, and that will make it realistic. But also the second word, fiction. Did you remember what fiction is? It means a made-up story. So sometimes kids get the words fiction and nonfiction confused. Nonfiction means that it is real, that it is not made up. Fiction means that it is made up. And so this story that we're going to read today is a realistic, so it could have happened, fiction story, which means that it's made up. So here it says, musical recycling. The Earth Day Science Fair was only a few days away. But Ted still didn't have any ideas. The good ones, like tree planting and bottle can drives, had been taken already. Ted angrily kicked at an empty plastic jug. It hit the side of the school with a deep thud. Suddenly, Ted had an idea. He found a smaller plastic bottle and tapped it. It made a higher sound. Ted laughed as he ran off to start work on his plastic drum set. So you can see how that story could have happened. Maybe there was a science fair and there's a kid out there that was having a hard time picking a project. But it was made up, we know, because they said that it is realistic fiction. It didn't actually happen, but it seems like it could have. So I wonder if you noticed when I was reading that I used a nice, clear speaking voice. I'm going to direct you to another resource here, which is ReadWorks. And this is something that I signed everybody up for. If you need your login information, again, just email me and I'll give it to you, or text me. And so I have assigned about 20 different reading passages right at your level. And if you read these, there's also a little quiz at the end. So it's a nice way to practice your reading. But the reason I wanted to bring this example up is to show you the other learning target your teachers were hoping you would work on, which is understanding the point of view of a character. So I'm going to read you this story, and this is not realistic fiction. This is actually nonfiction. It's a true story, and it's called A New Tale, Dolphin Rescue. And you'll notice that this page allows you the ability to play the story and you can hear it read to you while you're reading along. So that's a nice feature. There's also a little quiz at the end, but we're not going to take that today. We're just going to think about how can we understand a character's point of view, which means their perspective on the story. Dolphin Rescue. Scientists make a new tale for a dolphin. Ooh, I'm interested already. Meet Winter. Winter is a 4-year-old dolphin. She lives at the Clearwater Marine Aquarium in Clearwater, Florida. Unlike other dolphins, Winter has a prosthetic tail that was made just for her. A prosthetic body part is a fake part that is used in place of a real one. So I'm starting to think about this story and character point of view. Right now, there is no point of view really stated. I'm thinking that maybe the dolphin will be the one that I'm going to be considering how that dolphin might feel. And I'm wondering why it needed a new tail. I also want to take this time to remind you that I want you working on our other goal, which is I can speak clearly when I read aloud. When we were in school, we did Read Naturally every Thursday to try to practice reading fluently or naturally. So when you're reading to your parents or your guardian at home, I want you to use a nice, clear speaking voice. I don't want you to rush through it. I want you to really think about sounding like somebody on TV when you're reading it. Make it sound interesting. That's called reading with expression. So see if I can do that on this paragraph. Well, I also think about the perspective or point of view of the dolphin. Why did Winter need a new tail? Well, that's what I was wondering. In 2005, she got caught in a crab trap line and needed to be rescued. A crab trap line is a cord used to lift a crab trap out of the ocean. The cord damaged Winter's tail and made it fall off. She was only 3 months old. Many people thought she would not survive. Dolphins need to move their tails up and down to swim. Ooh, this is making me emotional reading it. If I think of the point of view of the dolphin in this story, I might think, ooh, that was just kind of a baby dolphin, only 3 months old. And that must have been so painful to get stuck in that trap. I bet that dolphin was feeling really panicked. Another point of view I might be thinking about is the boat drivers of the crab trap operators. I bet they just felt awful when they saw what happened to that poor dolphin when they were just trying to do their jobs. I noticed that I missed some captions here. When you have a story with pictures, they sometimes will have a caption, and it's important to read it because sometimes there's some interesting information in them. Dolphins move their tails up and down to swim. Winter had to swim side to side. Now that she has a new tail, she can swim as other dolphins do. Oh, well, that just makes me feel way better reading this because I think there's going to be a good ending to this dolphin, this winter's story here. Then the caption here for this says, a crab trap is used to catch crabs in the ocean. The crabs can be a danger to dolphins and other ocean animals. I did not know that. That's really interesting information, and it makes me hope that there's people out there trying to make things safer for our ocean marine life. Okay, I'm going to keep going. Making a new tail. Scientist Kevin Carroll heard about winter. So now here's a new person I could think of his perspective, the scientist. He makes prosthetic parts for humans. I thought to myself, that poor dolphin, says Carol. Then I thought, that's what we do. We replace missing body parts. Why not a dolphin? So here's the caption. And here it says, Winter plays with another dolphin at the Clearwater Marine Aquarium. I'm thinking of the perspective of this scientist or the point of view. I would think that he has a very special thing to share, and he was very kind, and he thought out of the box. He thought, oh, I do this for humans. Why not try it for animals? That's a really interesting point of view. Carol and his team tried many ideas. Finally, they made a tail that worked. It is made of a special material that works well with Winter's sensitive skin. The tail is placed over a gel-like material that helps hold it in place. The new tail lets Winter move quickly through the water. She is now able to swim like a dolphin again. And that makes me think of the point of view of Winter the dolphin. He must be feeling awesome and really just thriving, swimming just like another dolphin with the help of this scientist. I'm so grateful that that scientist came up with this idea. Here's what it says. Winter's prosthetic tail includes flukes. Flukes are the parts at the end of the tail. That makes me think of the perspective of the scientist. He must have really had to study how dolphins' tails move and what parts they had in order to make a prosthetic or fake dolphin tail. So I'm going to exit out of this and go back to that. And we're going to move on from reading and move on to writing. And here is the information for the Genius Hour. What is your passion? Idea. So I went ahead and selected a topic that I'm passionate about, which is raising chickens. I really love animals, and I've never had a chance to raise chickens, and my family's been talking a lot about trying to get a chicken coop. Even when we lived in an apartment, we thought, could we put a chicken coop on our deck? And we thought maybe it would get a little messy, but we now have a backyard, so we're thinking about trying it out. So today's target is that I can add visuals to make my passion essay more interesting. What I decided to do was go on to Google, and I decided to look up how to build a chicken coop. And there's a lot of different designs on here, as you can see. There's the chickens running around. I love that idea of them just being free. There's, I think, where they would sit and lay their eggs. Right here, you can see this lady has a roof on that part and she can lift it up and pick out the eggs. I've seen that done before. I like this idea of a chicken run. Here they have this like little enclosed area where the chickens can run around, but they can be safe from predators or other birds that might try to sneak in and eat their food. Oh, and there's a little chicken in the nesting box. So anyway, what I was thinking is that I could take some of these pictures and I could either look at it and try to draw it, or I could just copy and paste some of these pictures into my essay. And if I did that, I would want to write down where I got the picture, so that it's really interesting that or important that you tell where you got something, so that you're not plagiarizing, which means taking someone else's work as your own. So here is my beginning of my essay. I've only written the introduction, and maybe you're at that point too. Maybe you have written a lot more than me. But if you are just getting started on this passion project, I want you to first think about something that really excites you and you want to learn more about. And I want you to research it on the internet with some help from your guardian or your parent. So here I titled it Chicken Coop Fever. And then I want to hook my reader in with a strong introduction sentence that will make them want to read my essay. Have you ever dreamed of having your own piece of farmland right in your backyard or on your apartment deck? I have always loved animals, and I am especially interested in raising chickens. So there, I have told them what my topic is, raising chickens. And I've also kind of hooked them in with this idea, like, have you ever felt like this? Maybe it will make you interested to read it. I think it would be so fun to have chickens because, and now here I'm going to write 3 things that I'm going to write about later as paragraphs in my essay, kind of like we did with our animal research project, where we researched the habitat, diet, and fun facts of our animal. I'm going to name 3 things that we're going to do here, and later I'll keep adding to this and I'll show you what my essay ends up being. So when you write this, I want you to think of 3 things you want to tell your readers about your passion project. So I said, I think it would be so fun to have chickens because I think caring for them would be a fun family project. They would make great pets, and I would like to have farm fresh eggs. Keep reading to find out how I might pursue this passion of mine. So there's my introduction, and then I might, go over here and copy and paste some of these pictures to make my essay more interesting. And if you look back on here, they have some other ideas of how you could visually, hold on just a minute. Sorry about that. I had to get a little drink of water. I hope you're staying hydrated over where you are. It's really warm here today. Anyway, we're looking back here to see what else you could do to illustrate your project, which is you could draw on your sidewalk about it, getting permission from your parents first, or make a craft, write a comic about it, turn it into a children's book. There's a lot of different ways you can make your writing visual. And again, mine was taking some pictures from the internet and inserting them in the body of the essay. Okay, now I'm scrolling along here, and we're going to talk a little bit about math now. And if I scroll down, there's a lot of information here on units of measurement. This is a really fun scavenger hunt that talks about the different units of measurement, and then it gives you an idea of where you might find these things in your house. So it might be fun to go around and do this scavenger hunt with your family. So here is the page I want us to look at now. Estimate and measure liquid volume. Estimate means, can you tell who you're sitting with what it means? make a best guess about something. And so you're going to make a best guess. You're not going to know exactly what it is, but you're going to guess about how much volume is in something. Now, I'm not talking about the volume on your speakers. Volume is a word for, if you look at a container and you fill it up with a liquid like water, volume is a unit of measurement for how much water is inside a container. And you can see that. Liquid volume is the amount of liquid in a container. You can measure liquid volume using the metric unit liter. So you might have heard that word liter. There's the abbreviation. It's a capital L, like a water bottle. You might have seen this on there, 1 liter. That's the unit of measurement for the liquid or the water inside the container. A water bottle holds about 1 liter. Estimate how much liquid a plastic cup and a fishbowl will hold. Then write the containers in order from greatest to least liquid volume. So you can see that the plastic cup is smaller than the water bottle. So a plastic cup holds less than a liter. The water bottle holds about a liter, or 1 liter, and then a fishbowl holds more than 1 liter. So you would be thinking about, if you're putting these in order from greatest to least, it would be reversed of how they've done it here. I would put the fish tank first. Then the next smallest one would be the water bottle. And then the very least amount of liquid is in the plastic cup. So that's how I would order it if I was putting it from greatest to least of liquid volume. And here you can see it here: fishbowl, water bottle, plastic cup. And then we move on here. It says a wading pool is filled with water. Is the amount more than a liter, about a liter, or less than a liter? What do you think? A big kiddie wading pool. If you said that it is more than a liter, you're right. This is a liter. That is more than a liter. Now you're going to estimate how much liquid volume there will be when a container is filled. Right? More than 1 liter, about 1 liter, or less than 1 liter. So what I would do to answer this is I would look back and I would compare the pictures. So if I'm thinking about a vase, that's bigger than the plastic cup, but probably smaller than the fish bowl. I'm going to say that a vase holds about 1 liter of water, and I would write that down there. The mug is smaller than the vase, and it's about the same size as the plastic cup, but smaller than the fish tank. So I would say that a mug holds less than 1 liter. And then I think the easiest one is the bathtub, because it's very big. And you know that that's going to be bigger or more than 1 liter. Just like the fishbowl held more than 1 liter, the bathtub certainly holds more than 1 liter. So I want you to think about this information when you're doing the other pages in your packet. And I'm going to scroll down to the next lesson, which is about mass. Now, mass is what you're talking about when it's not a liquid or a gas. It is something that is solid. And it says that mass is the amount of matter in an object. So you can measure mass using the metric units gram and kilogram. And you'll see here they're weighing the objects. That's what you would do, is you would weigh something solid, like a book or a bunch of grapes. You can figure out how much it weighs, and then you can say how much mass is in there. We sometimes use, in the United States, we use pounds and that sort of thing to weigh objects, but in a lot of other parts of the world, they use grams and kilograms, and scientists often use this too. So there's other ways you can weigh something, but for the purposes of today, we're going to think of grams and kilograms. So it says, should you use gram or kilogram to measure the mass of a penny? Ooh, and that's small, right? The mass of one grape is about 1 gram. The mass of a book is about 1 kilogram. And I'll tell you that the word kilo means 1,000. So if you have 1,000 grams, that's how much it weighs. So what do you think is closer to a penny, the weight of a penny? 1 grape or 1 book? If you said 1 grape, you are correct. It says, think, the mass of a penny is closer to the mass of a grape than to the mass of the book. So use grams to measure the mass of a penny. You can use a pan balance, which is this object right here, to compare the masses of an eraser and a stapler. So if I'm picturing in my mind an eraser and a stapler, I know that the stapler is going to be heavier than the eraser. And the pan with the stapler is lower because that stapler is pulling it down more than the eraser is. So the mass of a stapler is more than the mass of an eraser. And we're going to keep going down here. And it says choose the unit you would use to measure the mass, right? Gram or kilogram. So then I'm going to think about the grapes in the book. I know that 1 grape is about 1 gram and 1 kilogram is about 1 book. So a cherry, I would say gram, because that's similar to the grapes. If I wanted to measure the mass of a cat, I would use kilograms, because the cat weighs more than just 1 grape. I'm going to use kilograms. I think a cat would weigh more than 1 book too. It might weigh, I don't know, 6 kilograms. I would have to get it out, a measuring tool, to really know for sure. But that's why we are estimating. We're taking our best guess. We're thinking, if I was holding 6 books, would that weigh about as much as a cat? I might be right. I might be a little off, but I do know that it would be more efficient to use kilograms instead of grams. That would be too small. And a pencil, what do you think? I would choose grams because a pencil is small and light, and it probably would not, or definitely would not, weigh as much as a book. So I would use grams to measure the pencil. And then the last part says compare the masses of objects, right? Is less than, is the same as, or is more than. So I'm going to look at the picture, and there's one of those pan balances, or maybe, oh yeah, I think it's pan balance. The mass of the pencil, the mass of the apple. So I have to compare the pencil and the apple. Well, here I see that the apple is weighing the pan balance down more. It's heavier than the pencil. It's lighter, so it's higher up on the balance. If it was exactly the same, it would be straight across. There would be no angle there, so I know it's not is the same as. So I had to pick is less than or is more than. So I'm going to read it again. The mass of the pencil is less than or is more than the mass of the apple. Well, I know the apple is heavier, so it's going to have more mass. So I will say the mass of the pencil is less than the mass of the apple. So you can use what you know from this lesson to do the other following activities in your packet that have to do with thinking about mass and volume. Okay, so I'm going to stop the share, and I just want to tell you how much I miss you and I am thinking of you. And I will make another video next week to go over the work in the packet. I hope you'll send me pictures of your work and that you will call or email me if you have any questions. Take care. I miss you. Bye-bye.